This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition. Welcome to the Healthy and Family Show. Each episode features interviews with doctors, experts, and real moms, revealing their secrets on how to keep you and your whole family holistically healthy. Your host is David A. Stone, award-winning movie producer, Amazon best-selling author, certified moringa grower, and founder of CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition, which is committed to providing the highest quality, science-backed, non-GMO, all-natural nutritional supplements to keep your whole family healthy. Here's David.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name's David A. Stone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Healthy and Family Show. This is episode 9, can you believe it? And if you're watching this show today, that means that you believe the health and wellness of your family should be top priority. But maybe you're a little bit confused with all the conflicting health advice out there. So our goal with this show is to interview the doctors, experts, and real moms who have the secrets that you can use to keep you and your whole family holistically healthy. And today I'm very excited because it's episode 9 and we have Coach Kim Meyer on the show. And Kim Meyer has a podcast. You can check it out. It's called Choose to Rise. It's on all the big podcast platforms. She also has a website called ChooseToRiseUp.com. And I'm really excited to introduce Kim Meyer on the show because we're going to be having a conversation today about holistic health. And a lot of this conversation really digs into mindset and morning routine and some of the things that really keep her on track, especially with a family. And especially during this crazy time of COVID-19. So I'm really excited to introduce to you our guest today. And before I do, a quick message from our sponsor. Life is stressful. And trust me, I know, I stay stressed a lot of times. I'm trying to really learn to drop my stress level. But one of the reasons that life is stressful is because we have cortisol pumping out of our brain. Now, one of the really cool herbs that we have in our formula here, this is the Complete Stress formula at CompleteNutra.com. Complete Stress, very simple formula, ashwagandha, and black pepper. Now, if you don't know much about ashwagandha is a powerhouse herb. It's also what's called an adaptogen. And adaptogens, if you give them a Google, adaptogens go to work and adapt to your body where your body needs it. So if you need to relax, the adaptogens will help you relax. If you need some energy, the adaptogens will give you strength and energy. Now, one of the beautiful things about ashwagandha is it regulates cortisol. Now, it doesn't last that long, so you have to actually take this throughout the day if you have problems with cortisol. But if you're running around way too fast, always frantic, always trying to not be able to sit still for a moment, give some ashwagandha a try. Now, when I first realized how much cortisol was pumping out of my brain every single day, I was taking 3 in the morning, 3 a few hours later. So 4 times a day, I was taking 3 capsules. That was 12 capsules a day. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is herbs. This is herbs that are gonna help your body heal. These are building blocks for your body. But if your body is so used to cortisol pumping out of your brain on a nonstop basis, like most of the people in the world, especially after 9/11, there was a global cortisol uptick. Now, during COVID, I guarantee you there's a global cortisol uptick in the whole world. There's people being stressed out all over the place. So this is something that helps me calm my nerves. The stress formula, and the stress formula works really well with our anxiety relief formula as well. The anxiety relief formula is not just one ingredient, there's many ingredients, and some of the amazing ingredients in here are a B complex. We got all the B complexes, we have calcium carbonate, but we also have some ashwagandha in this, but it's not as much ashwagandha as in this. So when you take these combined, they're a really powerful team because the anti-anxiety formula has rhodiola rosea, which is also an adaptogen. So when you double up on adaptogens, your body has so many building blocks to use to build and to heal. So I just wanted to introduce to you the incredible formula called Complete Stress Relief. So if you want to give Complete Stress Relief a try today, go to CompleteNutra.com and then fill up your cart with all these amazing ingredients, and then at checkout in the discount box, enter EP9 discount. That's EP9 discount. Add that into the discount box and you're going to get 20% off your entire order. So, and that even includes sale items on the site. So complete stress relief, it's just a go-to formula. I only take it twice a day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening, and it really helps me regulate. But when I really needed it, and when it was a very stressful time, I was taking 3-4 times a day. So you really can't take too much ashwagandha. Give it a research, go to pubmed.com and type in ashwagandha. It's a long word, but it's a very powerful word. And keep in mind, Complete Nutra is always committed to non-GMO. This formula is gluten-free, all natural, no hormones or lactose or antibiotics, and it is vegan friendly. So we are committed to GMO-free. All of our products are GMO-free because GMOs are bad. So that's Complete Stress Formula. So I hope you check it out because it really helps. So I'm really excited right now to introduce to you our guest for today's show, Coach Kim Meyer. I'm really excited to be here right now with Kim Meyer. And Kim, tell us a little bit about yourself because you are a health and wellness coach and you're a speaker. You have an awesome podcast called Choose to Rise, right?
Correct. Choose to Rise.
And it's really great, very short, like snippets that people can just dig into. So first, quickly, just tell us a little bit about yourself and about some of the passions that you have and why you're a health coach.
Okay, well, I am a mom of 2. I'm a wife to a teacher. I'm an Iowa girl through and through, born and raised. So all about the Midwest. And I'm a former educator, former school administrator. And I started on this journey, my own self-care journey, myself back in 2015. And when I started on my own journey is because I was a busy professional, just getting super burnt out, trying to overserve everyone else in my life for my family at the sacrifice of my family and myself. And so I had to figure out for myself what self-care looked like, what I wanted and needed my health to be like, because I also saw myself heading down the same type of path that my very obese father still lives in. And I didn't want to be that way. I didn't want my kids to have that kind of relationship with me or to see that as their role model for life. And so I knew I needed to make a change. And so I started with me first, much like, if you want the world to change, start with yourself. Yeah. So I did so with me first and started on my own journey. And then I started, if I can feel this good, I need to tell other people about it. And so I started partnering with my team, the people that I started working out with and getting healthy with. And I started telling other people and growing my coaching business. And from there, it's just kind of continued to evolve as far as just helping people move more. I mean, it's very simple. It's just move your body more.
Okay.
Better quality foods, and it's consuming better content, and not just consuming better things like what you're putting in your body, but most importantly what you're putting in your mind. Yeah. And so not plugging into the media, the news. We don't even have the news on in our house hardly ever anymore. Not reading the newspaper. You get to decide what shows up in your news feed, all those kinds of things. So for me, holistic health is really you being in control over what you're consuming, both, what you're eating and those kinds of things, but also what you're consuming with media wise and who you're hanging out with and those kinds of things as well. Good mental health, good physical health, spiritual health, those kinds of things. And just really being in tune to what those kinds of things are. And so I was kind of backtracking a little bit here. I was a full-time school administrator as a curriculum and technology director at my school. My husband, so very serving of we have 5 different buildings in our school district. I've worked very hard over the last 12 years to get to that point. I was keep moving up the ranks of classroom teacher and specialty teacher, and then got my master's and then became a school administrator.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. And so then I was just okay, what's next? But just like a lot of people climbing a corporate ladder, the end of the ladder comes at some point, and then it's well, now what? And so I'd reached school administrator point. I decided that I never wanted to be a principal, but yet I was expending all of myself to other people, and I didn't like that anymore. So I knew I needed to make a change. So I did. And that's kind of where it's got me today.
And this was 2015 that you made that change?
Yeah. 2015, I started making that change. Over the last few years, it's just continued to improve my health, but also improve my family's health. And then also knowing that I've been able to impact other women and their families and how they show up in the world has been super rewarding. So.
You know what I really like about that story is you're showing people a model of, look, we're in a microwave culture right now. We're in a fast food culture. Everybody wants to like do these fad diets. They're going to drop off a little weight really quick, or, be rich like when you're 22 and whatever, your first business just succeeds, whatever. We just want everything to happen right away. And what we got to understand is the long game is the key. And so if you really want to do something, you really want to live a life that you love, that you desire to be in, it might take a year to work on one piece. And then once that piece is done, then you can have enough, stabilize it. You could add in another piece. It's like, I think sometimes also we're all like, let's run 5 miles every day. And then you start doing it for 2 days. Then you get so sore and burnt out that you stop running and you don't actually even walk for the next 3 months.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's something like habitual. Like find those healthy habits that we could program in our life.
Exactly. And finding support to do it with. And so important. It's not just like saying like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. Like, well, what are the steps that are going to get you to that 10 pounds? And who are they going to be the people that are going to hold you accountable and have your back when you say that like, oh, it's too hard today. Like who's going to show up for you and say, no, this is what you said you wanted and why you said you wanted it. Like, let's keep going. And yeah, like there's tons of statistics and science out there that one of the things I talk about with my clients a lot is called habit stacking. And you start with one piece. Let's get good at this. And when you feel like you've not necessarily always mastered it, because we're not a master of really anything in life, but like it's just showing up for yourself in this one thing. And then we'll add the next layer. And then if we get good at doing those two things together, now we add the next layer and we just keep building. And so for me, like, when I start working with my clients, they get all the tools they need right away. Nutrition, fitness, support, all of it comes together in a package. But we always start with one thing, like what's your one struggle area that we could really make a big bang for your buck right away? And like, let's start there. And then, so for me, I was a former athlete. Like I was an athlete in high school and college.
Oh, cool.
And I coached a lot of athletic teams until I came to this position where there's just literally no more time in my day. But doing those kinds of things, like I knew I could do those. I could work out every day, but it was like when and how. So I needed to find something that fit me that I could do from my house. And so we do at-home fitness programs. So I right there in my living room, I'd literally roll out of my bed, I'd go downstairs, get the workout in before everyone else woke up in the morning. And that's just where it fit in my day. Now, I try to find people where their time slot is in their day, where it's going to most benefit them. But I started with fitness. And when I was kind of mostly through that first fitness program, is when I really started to like think like, okay, I need to really change what's going into my body. Like I'm starting to take care of it. I need to really take care of it.
Yeah.
So then I layered on nutrition and I got better at understanding how to fuel my body, not just feed my body, but fuel it. And then from there, then it was like, okay, now I start more introduction to podcasts and good books, that kind of thing. And so then I just make little swaps. Like I have 10 minutes in the car from how I would run the daycare loop from like, going to take kids to school, to wherever, and then going to the school in my office. So it's like, what can I plug into for those 10 minutes? Or instead of listening
listening to like an audiobook or something? Yeah.
Audiobooks. I'm a huge Audible subscriber, love listening to audiobooks or just podcasts in general. And so I always try to plug people in right away with personal development, because that really, the biggest transformation that you can ever have in your life is the 6 inches right here.
Like very true.
It's not always in your physical body. It's the right here between your 2 ears. And so if I can help make that switch faster and kind of incongruent with the other layers, like it all starts to work just a lot.
I think
faster.
That is the first thing that we have to start. It is in the mind, because we got to tell ourselves, we have to actually believe in our mind that we can achieve these things that we desire. Right. And I think, so I love what you're saying. We got mental game, we have food, what we eat, and then we have movement and physical activity. That's a really good way to break it down. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was trying to like fill people's buckets in those 3 categories. And like if like you're really feeling like I just don't feel like working out today. Well, like, why? Like, is it because you're physically sore, you can't, or is it because you just lost your motivation, or you need to be inspired again, or reminded of what your goals were? And that's all up here. That's all meant mindset stuff.
This
like,
is
or
holistic.
do you think
This is the whole person, all of it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So when I ever am working with anyone, and even just like building businesses, like helping coaches become coaches of other people, like, do you believe that you could build a business doing this? Do you believe that you can help other people? And it mostly starts with their confidence in what they're able to do for themselves before they start telling other people about it.
And I did include financial health within my version of holistic health because I think in the world we live in today, it's an important piece.
Oh, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Financial health for sure, because, and not just like to have money and like be really rich, like that's not financial health to me. Like financial health to me is like, I have choices in life. I get to decide where my money goes, or I get to decide what I want to do in life, and not have finances be a limiting factor, but finances being a choice factor for me.
Yes.
That I get to choose what I want to do with my life. Yeah.
Sometimes I think people forget that they can do anything they want. So they forget that they can dream again. And then they don't even set it. So I think once we start setting the goals and and a lot of times this is where it's like the midlife thing. Like I just turned 40. So 39 for me was, I was in film industry. I was making movies and producing for many years, working for some studios. A lot of people would have really given everything to like have some of the jobs that I got offered that I had no desire to be part of anymore. Like it's like the movie industry is a very thankless place. I don't necessarily need to be thanked in order to do an excellent job on something, but it's nice once in a while to treat people right. And so I got completely burnt out, and I kind of went through a little depression. But then once I actually started realizing, I need to get my stuff together, I started researching some people, and it was this first. I had to get my mind right first. And actually, it took full focus, obsessional, like learning about the mind for a whole year for me to really get myself into a place where I've always known I could do anything. But we allow ourselves sometimes to get maybe lassoed or strapped down by some things that we could change if we decided to. So
right. It's definitely a decision.
Yeah.
It's definitely like, it's really deciding what is going to be in your driver's seat. Like, is it your desire and what you really want to happen? Is that what's driving you? Or are you letting the fear or the doubt or somebody else in your corner that has said, a doubtful thing about it or whatever? And so like now you're letting that thought process drive where you're going. Yeah, it's 100% a decision. And when you make the decision to do it, it's sticking to that decision.
Yeah.
100%.
We do need to get inspired again sometimes. And actually, that's what happened. In the end of 2018, I went to a Brendan Burchard concert and got all pumped up and excited again. And that was the moment I stopped smoking cigarettes too. The night before the Brendan concert, I was in like a depression for a couple years, and I started smoking cigarettes. And I knew I was going to go to this thing, and I was outside like hiding the cigarette from everybody, like sitting way back in the back of my yard, smoking the last cigarette of the pack, up way too late because the Brendan thing started pretty early the next morning, and finished the cigarette, crumpled up the pack, and I was like, well, I think this might be my last cigarette. And it was. And this was 2018. Yeah, the end of 2018. So
Brendan
I
Burchard
needed
is
some
amazing.
inspiration.
Definitely.
I needed some hope, and that's what it gave me.
Yeah. It's for sure. Like, and when I surround myself with people that are going places that I want to go, or that it's really about finding the people that inspire you and that motivate you to keep going. And eventually, like, you'll be able to have that internal motivation, but sometimes you have to borrow it from other people for a while. So like you borrowed it from Brendan to like really get yourself going. And now you're this fueled machine that's going to keep going.
Right.
But yet you still plug into personal development and you still do things because you need to keep stoking that fire sometimes to keep leveling up in life. And that's what we try to do as coaches.
The big lesson I learned, and that changed my life drastically, and I learned this a couple times in my life, and I've forgotten it a couple times in my life, that I am the common denominator to every single thing that happens to me. It's like, I'm the reason I'm angry. Nope, that person didn't make me angry. I'm angry because I'm angry. It's like,
you choose it.
Yeah. Let's talk about who are a few people or a few books that have inspired you to be where you're at?
Goodness, there are so many. A couple that are constant in my ear all the time is Brooke Castillo and the Life Coach School podcast. She's so good. And thinking about her, I do listen to Brendon Burchard as well. But like some of those the one that's a staple in my morning routine in the morning, I get up and I do my own affirmations, but then I put my AirPods in and I listen to the Quote of the Day show with Sean Croxton. And there every day is a little different motivational speaker of some kind. There's a new person every single day sharing a bit on life. And so I love those. And then if I really resonate with the speaker, then I can go find more about them on their own channels or whatever and just dig in. Another really good author that I love, Brene Brown, is really super good. Right now I'm reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Like Laura Otting has been really good. Her book Limitless, Marie Forleo, Everything's Figureoutable, all of them. I actually
just got that one on Audible. I'm going to be listening to Marie's Everything is Figureoutable.
So good. It's one of the books, when I add new coaches to my team, it's one of the books that I send them this year. Like we did a book club as a larger team in January, and I'm like, this is so good. It's what some people need to just start with. And so I've been sending it out when people join my team all year. The other one that really kind of really kicked my fanny in gear, like for you, it's Brendon Burchard session, but like for me, it was the book, I don't know if you want to swear, but You're a BA by Jen Sincero. And it's really good. And there's some colorful language in it, but you can get around that. The concept is amazing. And that just really set my soul on fire and was like, okay, I can do this. I can be the person that God's made me to be. And that's where I'm going in life. And I've listened to it multiple times in Audible. I've read it a couple times. My book behind me is all tagged up, all kinds of quotes. So she's definitely one that really inspired me. And then another one that was kind of early in my coaching, just kind of getting started, was The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Yeah,
he's good stuff too. So yeah,
that's an excellent concept to understand. I mean, and a lot of this stuff is metaphorical when you really hit these really good writers that you can take and they apply to so many areas. Even the Simon Sinek's start with why. It's just applicable to so many parts of life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. Simon Sinek is amazing as well. I've read all of his leader books and on all that stuff. John Maxwell is another one. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on. But I'm just a huge personal development junkie in the sense that
I kind of am too. I love
anything I can do
never
to
stop learning, and everybody's got a different perspective, but we are all kind of talking about the same core elements.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And just becoming the best version of you and the healthiest version of you, whatever that looks like for you. And so, putting away fear, making the driving force where you're trying to go in life and living for yourself and not for what everyone else thinks or wants you to be doing.
Yeah. I have a concept that I wrote a book in 2019, last year, called Your Gold Mind. And I talk about there's three kinds of ideas. There's good ideas, bad ideas, and golden ideas. Good ideas are ideas that will benefit either you or others. And they're considered good because, hey, if something benefits you but not others, sometimes that could be a good idea. Or sometimes you're just going to serve others and not serve yourself, and that's still a good idea. A bad idea obviously doesn't serve anybody. But a golden idea is an idea that when you get it, it will serve you and others. And those are the unique ideas that I think we need to keep our eyes out for, because if we can actually, at the core foundation of an idea, remember that if we can serve ourselves and others, that's a fully explorable idea that will be in harmony with the world and help other people and help you. So we won't get burnt out because we're going to be benefiting ourselves, but we're also going to be really figuring out the truth of life. And one of the other parts, and the reason this is important, is because of one of the big elements of holistic health, and that's spiritual health. I mean, you did mention that a little bit, but I think it's such an important piece of holistic health, I think.
Right. Yes, I believe so too. And I am a full believer that the more you get to know your maker, the more you get to know yourself. And the more you get to know yourself, the more you get to know him. Yes. And so the more that you can dive into who you are and whose you are, the better your whole life is going to be. I always feel like living on purpose and is really living his plan for your life. And when you get to a point where you're like, where you were stuck in your job, you're getting burnt out, like you feel like you're always hitting that like roadblock, or like this just isn't fun anymore consistently, not just because it's a bad day, but like it's just not good to go to work anymore. You don't have that passion for it. You just kind of, maybe you veered off the path that he has designed for you. And I really feel like when you get into where you're supposed to be going, where he wants you to go in life and what he designed you for, life is just going to be in flow and it'll be easy. It'll be that golden idea all the time because that's what you were designed to do. Yeah. And so like there are jobs that like I knew I didn't ever want to be a principal, but there are some principals that love what they do and it's what they're made to do and they rock at it.
Yes.
It's just not me.
Definitely.
Or like nurses, or like, I mean, being an educator, like I love teaching and love serving and love helping kids, make that light bulb go off in their head. But like at some point, like I'm still teaching, I'm just not doing it in a capacity of traditional teaching, and so using the skills and the things that I've developed along the way in a passion area where I really feel lit up. Yeah. And a lot of people, I feel like, let their health go, like all of health go down and downward spiral because they get put in a position where they are working a job that they don't love. And so their mental capacity goes down. They are not taking care of themselves anymore. So now their physical capacity goes down. They may have highs and lows in some of the buckets or some of the areas, but like kind of how one thing is going to impact them all. So anytime that you can elevate one of those areas, it's going to start to elevate the others as well. And then that's where you start to cycle back up again. So
sometimes the things that people perceive as necessarily good for them or healthy aren't always that way. And I'm in media, so I know how media does this and how, and we also, all of us try to, encourage people to do whatever we think is the right thing. Now we just got to make sure what we think is the right thing is lining up with actual truth, right?
Actual truth, right.
and that's why I feel a big responsibility personally by doing these shows. Like I want to make sure what I'm saying is going to benefit people. And I know you have that feeling too, because I mean, that's so cool too. You've been a coach, but you've been a coach on so many different kinds of coaches, sports, right. Like health, and now a mind game, all of it.
Yeah. I would say that like the kind of the big things that are really holding people back or really steering people in different directions is that there's a lot of quick fix mentality in our world. Like you said earlier today, that we are kind of living a microwave scenario where people just want that thing right now. Think about all the technology that we have. It's just made things so easy for people. And so then they begin to feel like everything should be easy. Right. But if you really think about anything that's worth having, you've had to work for. And it should just be a part of what do you work for is really the things that become worth it in the end. And it's the person you become in the process, not just the end result that is the real reward, right? And so I feel like a lot of the things that are kind of dangerous, I guess, to people in this like health area is that people expect quick fixes and that's what they're always looking for. So it's flipping that mindset and like, yes, you can work out for 30 minutes a day, but it's going to take 30 minutes a day, not 30 minutes to make, give you strong lungs and a healthy body, right? Like you need to be able to move every day or keep yourself active all the time and not just, put on a patch or take a pill or, like those kinds of things.
We got to make it a habit.
Right. These are the kinds of things that have gotten into this position, making, when you really think about like where this shift in our societal health happened, it kind of was in like the 60s and the 70s when all of a sudden there was microwave food, like the little home dinners that you could just throw in the microwave.
TV dinners.
TV dinners, and the, everyone's sitting in front of the TV eating their meal.
Yeah, they're called TV dinners.
Exactly. Right. So, I mean, I feel like that's, and then the ramp up of fast food, all of that kind of stuff. And so really I feel like what we can do to kind of reverse it is, one, we have to change our mindsets, and we have to show people that and really get them to be invested in themselves, to cut out the processed foods and to move their bodies more. And maybe instead of 3 episodes of Netflix, we'd maybe only do 2. And for one of those, we do a workout or just go for a walk with your family, like those kinds of things will really start to help people make a shift the other direction.
Definitely.
The more of us do it, the better we'll get at it.
So I tried to figure out what is something everybody can do that doesn't exclude anybody, that can get people healthy. So and everything, it all boils down to habit. Habit is actually the baseline of all this, but I have something called the Nutri Challenge. It's NutriChallenge.com. I have a lot of people in it. So it's 4 pillars. Pillar 1, and it actually correlates with what you're saying a lot. I don't have the mindset part in it because this is all about body, but pillar 1 is walking 10,000 steps a day. We've been doing it since January 1st. I've actually already walked 1.5 million steps, which means I've walked about 750 miles already this year. And I've had a few other people do it with me, but it's just 10,000 steps a day, which is about 5 miles a day. So it's a decent amount. Kind of push yourself a little bit. Pillar 2 is intermittent fasting, choosing your eating window. So it's actually learning how to detox a little bit, eat a little bit less, and pick your window. And then pillar 3 is take your vitamins or proper supplementation for your goals, which means you got to have some health goals, you got to have some body goals, so we can look forward to achieving something. And then pillar 4 is sleep, quality and adequate sleep. And so I think all 4 of those pillars is literally something every single person could do. Now, if they can't walk because they're in a wheelchair, there's pedometers that track wheel pushes as steps too. So we can all kind of, and here's the cool thing about walking. It's walking. It's like, it's not, I'm going to start running 5 miles every day. No, you try to run 5 miles every day when you haven't worked out, you're going to do it. Like I said, for 2 days, you're going to stop. The idea is, how do we do something every single day? And the more I walk, I really get happy because it's a full mental defrag. My walks are about 2 hours, and I walk up through the mountains here, and I literally get to think about everything for 2 hours, or listen to an audiobook.
You're listening to an audiobook. So you're either consuming really great content, like you're listening to a podcast or an audiobook, or you're just connecting with nature and connecting with yourself and your thoughts. Like, how many people are so connected to their device that like you have like 10 seconds of quiet time, and like what is the first thing people do? It gets quiet, gets awkward, they grab their device, like they consume into something, right? Yeah, they like put their heads down. Like that's when you walk into restaurants and everybody's staring at their phone. Right?
Oh no. Oh, totally.
And so that's what I would feel like that's another thing that we can really help people, get comfortable with themselves, and a lot of that is a confidence thing too. Of like, am I worthy of that kind of thing? I mean, it can go down to like levels deep, but
that's a core element. Like what we tell ourselves is kind of what starts happening. We need to, I talk about it in my book, we need to apologize to like, how often do we talk to ourselves so bad that we would never ever talk to anybody else that way? Like we would never say the things to somebody else, a stranger or anybody that we know, that we say to ourselves in our head.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And you are the only person that you're going to have the longest conversation with in your life. And so if you're not saying nice things to yourself, who is going to say nice things to yourself?
Definitely.
Right. And you can only grow as far as you're willing to grow yourself. And so like, and in anything, like you're never going to earn more money. You're never going to earn more prestige. You're never going to have better relationships than the relationship you have with yourself and how you feel about you. So 100%, like if you can get comfortable with who you are, so many more doors open up for you.
And so if you just catch yourself, you're driving, you're doing something or whatever, you do something that you usually yell at yourself out and you're like, stupid idiot, David, you're stupid, and then you're like, whoa, David, you're not stupid. Sorry about that, bro. I'm sorry. And like literally take a moment and apologize to yourself. It's a cool tactic because it reminds you that you're worth it.
CompleteNutra.com, whole family nutrition.
Hi, Dr. Jessie Keener here, and we're going to talk about the solution for stress. It's called Complete Stress Formula, and this is probably the biggest issue hitting Americans above the age of 18 on a day-to-day basis. In my clinical practices for over 30 years, this is the thing that's hitting people the hardest, stress. And we all know that stress kills, but we're just now learning in clinical nutrition and herbal medicine that there are ingredients called stress adaptogens that actually help the body cope with stress and help the body stay balanced under higher levels of stress. Sound like you? Of course it's you, because you're probably working a 40-hour work week. You may be raising a family. You may be working and raising a family, so you're under a lot of stress. So this is a superstar because it's using a proven ingredient that's been shown clinically over and over for decades to not only help the body deal with the stress, but adapt itself and tonify itself so that it handles stress better. The name of that ingredient is ashwagandha. I know that's a mouthful. You don't have to remember that. Just remember complete stress. But when you take ashwagandha, it lowers what we call now the stress hormone, or cortisol. So when we're triggered by what we deem to be an emergency, so you mom, that could be you on the way to dropping off the kids, and one of them is running late and is too slow getting out of the car, and then they start crying because they don't want to go to school, and you've got an appointment and you know that your boss is going to be there waiting for you for that meeting. That's called stress. But if you're taking your ashwagandha a couple of different times a day, it's going to lower that stress hormone called cortisol and help keep that hormone, when it gets too high, from upsetting your blood sugar, keeping your nervous system agitated, and short-circuiting your brain. So literally too much stress hormone, your blood sugar goes down, your thyroid stops metabolizing properly, and your brain inflames and can't process information properly. So that's why we have this in our product line, because we're all dealing with stress in various degrees. You take this once a day, twice a day if you feel like you're under just a little bit of a stress. But if you're very stressed, maybe you're a busy entrepreneur or mom of a couple of kids, you might need 2 to 3 capsules 2 to 3 times a day to keep your stress level lowered and keep it in the right zone. A great marker for how stressed you are is how you sleep at night. That's why we have the sleep formula, and these two can be taken within the same day. You take the ashwagandha throughout the day, you take your sleep formula at night. It's a great combination. So complete stress for your anti-stress protection. I wouldn't recommend this for kids under 12 just because we don't have enough clinical research for children under 12. Right as kids start to go into puberty, they do need help with their stress hormone, particularly in America, particularly with the long days at school and the long homework hours at night. So 12 and up, it's a good idea to get them started on their stress management.
CompleteNutra.com, whole family nutrition.
Sometimes we don't give ourselves ever the time of day. Just like you said, you were giving everybody else all of your energy. And, you know, we are worthy of giving ourselves the time of day, which let's actually bring this to a really cool point you just brought up, your morning routine. Your morning routine, you're giving yourself the time of day if you focus on giving yourself a morning routine. Talk about your morning routine. What does that look like? Because you're a mom and you have a family, so it's probably a little bit different than if you're just a single person, because you have to care if people are sleeping or not.
Yeah. And so my morning routine is that my alarm goes off at 5. And so I just really try to get up before everyone else. If I were still going to, and even I guess even if I wasn't leaving the home to go work someplace else, I would still get up early. And that was kind of my thing when I first started my wellness journey. Was I love to sleep. So like if my workout was 35 minutes, I was rolling out of bed 37 minutes in order to get it done. Right. Well, now it looks drastically different because I'm so much more into my morning routine. So now I get up at 5. I plug in my AirPods right away. When I first am getting out of bed, I'm like thinking right away, gratitude, like, thank you God for this. Thank you God for that. Like, what am I grateful for right now? Put my AirPods in, go downstairs, get some water, all that kind of stuff. Come back up. I do get into my devotion. I journal, and I just kind of do me time for a little bit. Then I get my workout in, connect with my team, do my social media posts, kind of whatever I need to do with connecting with my clients. And then it's now I kind of move into mom time. Like right now we're kind of quarantined, so we're all just home all the time. But normally that would be getting my kids ready for school. So like I try to be 100% present in what I'm doing when I'm in it. So if I'm in my morning routine, like I try not to turn any notifications on my phone. I don't have any notifications turned on my phone at all. And just for just distraction purposes, but even just like where I'm going to be is where I'm going to be. So when it comes time to come upstairs, usually in like a normal time of the life where kids are going to school and we're even go someplace. At like 7:50,
Yeah, I know,
come
right?
upstairs, and then I'm in mom mode, and I'm doing breakfast and getting ready for school, and are your bags packed and like all that kind of stuff. And then getting them to school and coming home and starting my work day. So, yeah.
And
but
all
even
that
now,
happens before 8?
all that happens typically before 8:00. I'm back home starting my work day at 8:00. And all that stuff happens prior to that.
Yeah. And look, if you don't do your shut your notifications off, like that time goes away.
And you don't ever get it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 100%.
Wow. I like that. That's a lot. That's a lot. But when you actually give yourself the time of day, I find we can supercharge ourselves and like we can literally do more, especially when we start the day with gratitude. Like you are doing things in an excellent way. Like you start the day with gratitude. It's very fascinating how much we can get done. And I don't know about you, but like sometimes I turn around in a couple hours and I'm like, wait, how did I just do all of that? Like
and then like, where did that time go? First of all, like if you were doing nothing, like, like the whole day just went by. But two, if you can really be dedicated in what kind of focus you put into time, you can get so much accomplished. Absolutely.
I started getting, so in 20, I don't know, it's probably 2019. I think it was 2019 when I started like listening to Robin Sharma. I started reading a lot of Carnegie, started reading Benjamin Franklin, and all these people were like, get up at 5 or get up early. They start their day at 5. And I was a filmmaker. I had long hair down to my shoulder blades. I was like, I'd do whatever I want, whatever. Anyways, I would sleep until noon. I would stay up until like 3. Like that was my life for so many years. So, but after my depression, I realized, you know what? I gotta kick it into gear here. I gotta do something that's gonna give me a schedule. And really, if I bring it down to one thing that really changed the direction of my life, it was getting up early. It was making the commitment to go to bed. So I started doing 5 a.m. last year, and then I started doing some writing and finding my own groove and stuff. And I liked early so much, I started doing 4:30. Then I went to 4. Then I went to 3. And I literally got up at 3 a.m. for like 7 months last year, and I had 5 hours of work before 8. Before noon, I had the entire day of work done, and I could get distracted by any of my friends, and I was like totally fine with it because I'm like, my work's done. Like I already got 8 hours of work in by noon. So it was,
absolutely.
It kind of gets addicting to start getting up a little bit early because then it's like, plus at that point, I was going to bed at 7. And if my friends were like, hey, you want to go get a beer? I'm like, I'm already sleeping. They don't even ask me that until about 8. So I'm already in bed. Of course, I don't have a family. So the interesting part was I did a 3 a.m., 7 p.m. sleep all last year till I got completely burnt out, which I'm learning how to maybe go more stable than just running really hot and burning out, which used to be a pattern of mine. But this year, it's basically around 5 a.m. Is what I'm finding that my body likes. Like I'm able to fall asleep, but between 8 and 9. And now if I get up at 5, I just have this supercharged morning because there's no cortisol pumping in my brain right when I wake up. That doesn't happen until later.
Right. You're freshest right away in the morning. And so if you can plug into positive things right away, or you're your most creative right away in the morning before you get anything else clouded in there. And so, doing things right away in the morning is absolutely I'm a natural night owl. I would rather stay up all night long and work flip side of other people in the world. But I've really learned that the morning is the best time to get anything accomplished, especially to recharge your own batteries, not only waking up fresh because you've had a good night's sleep, but now like really taking that time to fully charge your batteries so that you can go out and give to more other people.
And nobody is even ready to talk to you yet. So you got all this time for yourself. There's no notifications going off at 6 a.m. It's like people are still sleeping. So anyways, it does give you an edge. And I think that I need an edge because there are a lot of things once we start living our passion and following the things that one thing maybe I can hit on with you a little bit is I think one of the things that people think they desire is to coast. It's like, oh, I hear people say like, oh man, I just can't wait till I'm just like not doing anything, right? But see, here's what happened. We had a global pattern interrupt with COVID, and everybody actually got this opportunity to coast. Pretty much everybody got this opportunity to coast, and then the people that all they desired was coasting got so bored with coasting for the first week or 2 weeks being quarantined that their mental things were just like starting to bubble up. It's like nobody really wants to coast. The thing is, we don't put anything in our path that's so exciting to us that we have to run towards. I think we're always telling us in the future. And the other problem that we don't start the things that we know we should is because I think a lot of times fear and excitement are extremely similar physical reactions. So when you think of something that you're really excited about, you might accidentally interpret it as fear and not even attempt it because we're so programmed in this day and age with the media to fear things. So I know that's a little bit of a different kind of train, but I think that kind of stops people in their tracks. If we got to understand, hey, the fear is a good thing to feel too, but it actually might not even be fear. It might be excitement. Fear shows us that we should probably address something. I mean, fear is necessary, but at some point it's like, holy crap, that's not fear. Like, right. I'm excited.
You're absolutely true that they show up in your body the same way, the same energy level, just on opposite ends of the spectrum. And so your body doesn't really know what it's experiencing. But at the same time,
our interpretation of it tells our brain which chemical gets splurted out.
Right.
Either serotonin or cortisol.
Exactly. But yeah, it's that hit that we're kind of looking for. And so, yes, having something to be excited about and go towards, but also kind of something a little bit you said earlier was like, you need something to run towards. People are looking for that easy, but it's also that like when that happens kind of mindset. So like when I hit this, I'll do that.
Right.
When I achieve this, I'll do that. And they're always searching for easy, but easy isn't what they want. It's the result that they're looking for. And so they're just trying to figure out, it's either fear of like, they really just don't know what they want, or it's not really having something, like you said, to run to, a goal in their mind. Like they don't have a vision for where they want to go in life. So coasting seems easy. And so I just want to coast. I want an easy life.
Yeah.
But then what does that mean?
The only reason that's the goal is because they hate their job. The only reason coasting is ever the goal is because you hate what you're doing.
Right. You don't like where you're going. So I just want to take an easy route, which really, instead of going that direction and feeling miserable, let's turn around and go towards something that you really love and be excited about what you're doing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a really intense person, like all in on everything. I'm learning a lot of lessons throughout my life all the time, but I'm really learning that we do get the chance to direct our experience here. And it's about how we sit, what we talk about to ourselves, who we surround ourselves in, and then understanding, like you said, I believe we were created in the image of a creator, and that is the reason that we create. And if we're not creating anything, even twins have different fingerprints. Like we're all unique. Each one of us has something that is different that we should be digging. Like in my book, it's called Your Gold Mind. It's about digging the gold out of your mountain of your mind. It's like we all got gold in there, but your gold isn't going to look like someone else's gold. And sometimes we dig gold out of our mind and someone else, one of our friends or our parents or our kids or something, says, that's not gold. That's like a nice aluminum can, but that's definitely not gold. And we're like, no, this is gold. We just got to like commit to, be willing to commit to what we know we should do. Like not all of our time if we can't. If we have to have a job, that's okay. But give yourself a mountain of your own to climb instead of having your whole mountain range be everybody else's mountains that you're climbing all the time. Because if you can give yourself, and when I say give yourself a mountain to climb, a mountain might take 2, 3, 4 years to climb. We can't give ourselves a little hill to climb. That'll take one day.
Right.
Like we need something that we can't quite put our finger on how we're going to do it yet, but we would be very excited if it happened. If we can have something like that on the horizon,
yeah,
Yeah,
it's got to be a passion area. It's got to be something that fills your cup. Like, I have a cousin who he's a gutter. He puts gutters on houses. Like, it's a great company, great job. He likes what he does. He doesn't love what he does, but he's amazing at woodworking. And I always tell him, like, this should be your thing. Like, we're so good at it. And like, he's like, but I would never make money at it. If he really loves woodworking and is really good at it, like I always keep telling him, like, you should follow that. Like, you're so awesome at it. But he's like, but this is the job that pays the bills. And I'm like, okay, but as long as you keep doing it, like never give that part up.
Never give it up.
Yeah. And for me, that's kind of how coaching, like when I really look at like my entire life and I look at my journey of where I've been in life, like athletics and physical fitness and like those pieces, coaching, those kinds of things have always been there for me. Like I've been on a team, like a formalized team since I was in 7th grade, like middle school sports, right? And then moved into high school. And then even then I was like helping with little kids activities and really getting them involved in athletics. And then I went to college and was a college athlete. And then I started teaching and was a coach there. Like those pieces have always been a part of me. So like when I really think about when I came to this position and no longer was able to do that, that was that part of me that like died in me, that I really just started to got burnt out in life because I didn't have that piece of my team anymore. You know, I lost all that movement. I lost that collective piece. So I really encourage people, like if you're feeling like you're just lost, like you got to go back to the things that really light you up and the pieces in your life and just reflect on your journey as a whole from like when you were little kids, what was it that you really loved doing? When you were in middle school or high school, like what was it that lit you up? What was it that kept going? And then find ways to plug those things into your life. Mel Robbins has a really good book and she coaches like 5 or 6 people in this book, like live coaches with them. And that's one of the things that's called Take Control of Your Life by Mel Robbins. And it's on Audible. It's super good. And so one of the things she was talking about with somebody was like, he wanted to go into the wine industry. Like I wanted to quit his job and like open a winery. And she was like, well, let's like start small. Like, let's see if like wine really is your thing. So like the small thing was like, he got a job at a local winery and was like serving wine and like becoming more of a connoisseur and helping people. And then eventually he did open up his own winery, but like he really had to decide if like that was his passion or if he was just having a midlife crisis. But
yes.
Like, really, it's just a matter of really going in the direction that what lights you up in life.
Yeah.
And going that way. Coaching is my thing because I can see it show up in pieces everywhere for me. And just helping people get more confident, get stronger in their bodies, stronger in their minds, stronger in their health, in their faith, and financially too. But like just
definitely
find those things that light you up, whatever that is for you.
And you're serving people and it sounds like that does light you up. And I can hear another passion. I mean, one of your superpowers, it seems like to me, is staying present, is being able to be present. I just heard a quote, if we live in the past, we are depressed. If we live too far in the future, we have anxiety. And so we need to learn to be present. So if you have depression or if you have anxiety, maybe you're living. It's like we have this escapism mentality. Like, I'm at home. I don't want to be here. I got to get out of here. I got to go to work. And then you get to work and you're like, oh, I got to get out of here. I got to go home. It's like we're never living in the moment at the place and being, well, if we can learn to do that, to be present. So can you talk a lot about how did you learn to be present?
Well, part of it started to eliminate the distractions. So for a while, it was like we kind of had a rule for a long time, and we still kind of have it. Like no technology at the dinner table. You know, then it was like when you're home, like your phone goes in a basket, or you're just unplug. And so like, and then also like notifying people of that. So like setting yourself business hours if you're working from home, or just kind of knowing and kind of telling the people in your life, like, I'm not going to answer my phone between this time and this time, or you know, this is making it known to like even other family members, like this is our time. This is when we're plugging in. but it also just becomes like a habit, like we kind of talked about, and just being disciplined enough to say, this is where I am. This person in front of me it deserves 100% of my attention right now. And even like thinking about it as a mom, like I can look at my 7-year-old right now and be like, she's never going to be 7 again. In fact, she's going to turn 8 in a month. Like, we're never going to get this time back, right? So how can I, and even if I am working on something and she wants my attention, especially now that we're all home together all the time, like, I'd be like, okay, can you give me 5 minutes? And then I'm all yours.
Well, starting your day in gratitude allows you to appreciate this stuff too.
Yes. Yeah. And just knowing what are your priorities are and what it is that you really want to, if you can get to the end of the day, Brendan does this, like you can get to the end of the day and say, where did I add value to someone? What is something that I absolutely loved or what I'm grateful for? Like, really getting to a point where you can identify those things at the end of the day that, what does a fantastic day look like to you? Like, is it something that you loved? Is it someone you served? Is it something that you have accomplished during the day? And if you can get to the end of the day and answer yes to those questions, it's a good day, regardless of whatever else happens. So just figuring out what your priorities are and just being present in the moment, knowing that time's going to pass and you're never going to get it back again.
Another cool thing about being present in the moment, especially at dinner time with families and turning your phone off. Here's another thing that I don't think people are necessarily understanding yet. I know most people aren't. I've listened to Dr. Mercola. Our phones are going to be touted as probably worse than cigarettes, he's saying, within the next 20 years. Because of the EMFs that we are literally never giving ourselves a respite from. Because our phones are always in our pocket, or they're by here, or we're wearing earbuds with more EMFs. But it's like having those times to... Now, I've been actually hitting my airplane mode on all my walks. I still want to track my steps, but if I put it on airplane mode, not only can nobody call me, so I'm staying present in the moment, but I'm actually living more like the batched email life. Remember, You've Got Mail or Juno? It's like you go there and look at it at noon, and it goes, here's all your messages. Well, when I turn it off of airplane mode, on Mother's Day, that was what happened for me. I put it on airplane mode, and it was so cool. I actually forgot it was on airplane mode, and I started trying to check it. No new messages. So I kept putting it down. And then I realized, oh, wait, it's on airplane mode. I turned it off, and it was like... But
all the things. Yeah.
I think that we just... Not only is airplane mode good for our social interaction with people, we need to wake up with these EMFs and 5Gs. I mean, people are literally sleeping next to their phone, and they're not getting good sleep. It's like, if we could just, it's because it's like another arm. It's like our external hard drive for our brain. Like all the stuff we don't want to store in here, we put in our phone. So if we ever, we just feel so attached to it that it's a little scary to go airplane mode. Or I've also been hearing doctors prescribe digital fasts, even for whole families.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to sleep with my phone next to my bed, and sometimes I do if I have something that I really have to be awake for in the morning. But I always have it down. And now my office is right off our bedroom. So it just sits right here. One, that's really awesome for not hitting the snooze button, because if your phone's your alarm and it's right next to you, that's the first thing you just hit snooze and go back to sleep. So my alarm is my phone still, but it's 20 feet from my bed, ways away. So I have to get up to go do that. And that's another tip from Mel Robbins, like her 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 situation is like, put your devices not in your bedroom. Like, she doesn't even recommend you have a TV in your bedroom. Like that should be your quiet space. And so I always have my phone here in my office and never really by my bed, or in the bathroom or wherever you want to put it. And then, like anytime that you can just unplug is a good thing.
If you I think everybody should try to put their phone on airplane mode and try to forget it's on airplane mode for a while. See if that can happen. Like, I know it's going to be crazy, and I think it's going to be like, I don't want to do this. But when it's on airplane mode, there's no signals going in and out. So, I mean, I don't know. I think if we're not aware of this, we're not going to do it. And if we don't think it's important, we're not going to do it. And it's all good. For everybody's different. But I just think I want to give my body the best chance to recharge itself and heal, because Dr. Mercola, do you know who Dr. Mercola is?
I've heard of him. Yep.
So he has some cutting edge research on Mercola.com, but he he says that if we can find a respite from all the EMF frequencies, if we can turn our phone off at night, maybe even turn our router off at night, plug in our computer instead of using Wi-Fi all the time, if we can give our bodies some time away from these EMFs or 5G or whatever, our bodies are meant to heal. Our bodies are regenerating machines. If we can actually give ourselves some time away or go camping, that would be amazing. I've been doing that more lately. And recharging in nature, then we might actually be building up an immunity a little bit. If we give ourselves consistent time to get away from the waves, then we enter, keep going to work and doing our thing. But we have this place that's a haven that we can go to that is, I mean, frequencies are the weird one because they're invisible. And I don't know that we're necessarily talking about them all the way. And now 5Gers, they're calling them like flat earthers, like 5Gers. It's like, come on, guys. I don't know. But I'm a little conspiracy theorist because I'm a filmmaker and I write sci-fi scripts. But I'm looking at it. It's like we're living in a sci-fi movie right now.
Yeah, it's our perception as a reality. So whatever you want to believe, it becomes your reality. So you can make your own sci-fi if you want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with this whole, with whatever's going on in the world right now, it's
yeah. I feel like there is so much not researched about it that it's just one of those silent things that nobody thinks about. They're just, again, there for the convenience. So
you're right.
Just like
it's convenient. It's easy.
Yeah, just like our food changed and causes all these problems. Now we're just so much more connected and it's causing so much social emotional issues. But now eventually someday we're going to figure out like, oh, all this EMS stuff is really what's causing all of the cancer in the world or whatever. Like we just don't know what we don't know right now.
Yeah.
And just like we kind of, the silent thing that no one can see. I mean, if we could even talk about the like COVID thing for a very
we could briefly talk about that.
Right? Like it's something that we can't see, we don't understand, we don't know about. And so people either go in the massive fear direction or they go in the massive denial direction. And there's like, where's the common sense, people? Like, let's just really think about this. But it's something that's just been, it's a danger. It's an issue. But there's people so far on either side of the fence that what is true, right? And you have to figure out your truth around it. Whatever the danger might be, we could go in a million directions on things that are wrong or bad for us. But it's really a matter of figuring out what's good for you and what level are you willing to advocate for, or,
And where are we putting all of our focus? If we listen to the news, we're probably screwed, honestly. But it's like, where are we? Because if we listen to the news, that brings our focus to the news. And then all of our focus is there instead of on how are we going to serve others? How are we going to change the world? How are we going to do the things that are important to us? So for you, how do you approach this COVID situation and all of this with kids? Like, what's your kind of approach to keep your family healthy right now for the last couple months?
Well, we, like I said earlier, we don't watch the news. If something really needs to get to me, I'll find out about it. Right? Like
definitely.
We don't watch the news. I don't plug into the governor's daily update. I don't none of that stuff. Like if I really need to know, I'll know.
Yes.
Like we practice the safety measures. We've been staying home. Like only one person is the one going to the grocery store. We've been trying to order in as much as possible as far as delivered to us versus going to stores kinds of thing. Just really cutting back. But as far as my kids, I try not to expose them to a lot of the information because one, it's changing all the time and I don't want to provoke fear. We just talk about we're doing what we're supposed to do, or what are the rules, right? Stay home. Don't go get in contact with people that, are outside of your family. Wash your hands, all stuff that we should be doing anyway. So just staying healthy. But as far as just mental health, it's 100% just kind of keeping your bubble. So that could be perceived wrong, but just stay in your lane, what is it that you have to know? What is the things that are nice to know? And then what are the things that really aren't going to change the game for you and are just going to take you down in a downward spiral? We have family members on both sides of the fence. We have family that are glued to the TV. They know how many cases are in how many counties. And when they go on their walk in the day, they notice the license plates of different cars. Oh, there's this many. Oh my goodness. Like, if you're not coming within 6 feet of the people, it doesn't matter where they're at. Like, be safe, right?
Yeah.
But it's just, where your focus goes, your mind goes, where your focus goes, your energy goes. And where do you want to put your energy?
Yeah.
In something that you can't control or something that you can control.
Right.
And I know for myself and for everyone else too, like the only thing you can control is your mindset, what you're putting your time and energy into, and your own thoughts. Like, I can't even control my kids as much as I'd love to, but I can't. So I can only control what I can control and what I can tell them and teach them and those kinds of things, and have to hope that they make their own good choices based off.
That's a good point. If kids are watching this, kids, look, you guys are your own people. You get a chance to make all your own decisions, but understand that you are the future of our world. And right now, you are the ones that are going to have to learn. Kim, you made a good quote on one of your podcasts. You say something about the planting. What was that quote? The planting and something about the garden. I forget.
Oh, the seeds that you plant, the thoughts you have for today are the seeds that you're going to be planting for future growth. So if you're planting negative thoughts and negative things, negative decisions, if you're watching people who are making negative decisions as well, like those are all seeds that you're planting in your garden of life. And it really, what you do now is what's going to come into fruition later.
Yes.
So plant good seeds, plant positive thoughts, plant good decisions that are going to grow into something good later.
I love that. That's an excellent quote to end this on, because we could keep talking. In fact, I have a lot more thoughts in my head that I don't necessarily want to stop talking, but I think I would be excited at some point, maybe if you wanted to do this again, but this was great.
I'm glad you liked it. It was good talking with you too. Like just talking over all the things, and I love it.
Yeah. And we could take it in so many different directions. And stuff. So, but anyways, I really do appreciate all the content you're consistently putting out. You're not trying to do this whole get rich quick. Like you treat one subscriber as if they were all of your subscribers. And the reason I say that is because you continuously deliver content, and I know how much work that is. And so, I just want to say, first off, thanks for caring about everybody so much to do that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
My show comes out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's my privilege to be able to add value to people. It originally started with me just going live on my Facebook page and sharing personal development things that I heard and learned. And then a good friend of mine started a podcast network, and he was like, "Hey, you ever think about turning this into a podcast?" And I was like, sure. And now it's just kind of evolved over the last 3-ish years. And so, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday comes out a podcast. So it's been fun.
So tell everybody where they could find out more information about you, and go ahead and plug whatever you have.
Okay. Well, my podcast, like I said, comes out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's called Choose to Rise. You can get it on any podcast platform. And then you can go to chooseToRiseUp.com and find out more about me and what I do. I'm KJPMeyer on pretty much all my social media platforms. And and my Facebook page, Choose to Rise Up, has my video version of my podcast, as well as other just social media life posts and how I try to live a healthier life and motivate other people to do the same thing. So,
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show, Kim. I really had a pleasure talking to you.
Awesome. Thanks. Same.
Thank you for joining us for the Healthy and Family Show. Visit our website at healthyandfamily.com. That's healthyandfamily.com to see what all the other doctors, experts, and real moms have to say about keeping your whole family healthy. This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition, and aired on the Goldstone Network. People, Planet, Future.